Christmas Eve in the city was always magical. Snowflakes drifted lazily from the dark sky, landing softly on the streets that glimmered with festive lights. The faint jingling of holiday bells could be heard from every corner shop, and the aroma of freshly baked cookies and roasted chestnuts filled the air. Families bustled along the sidewalks, laughter ringing out as they carried gifts wrapped in shiny paper, scarves tucked tightly around their necks, and cheeks glowing from the cold. Inside his sprawling penthouse, Michael Carter, a self-made millionaire and devoted single father, sat by the grand window of his living room, watching the city below. His 8-year-old son, Jake, was bouncing around the Christmas tree, excitedly pointing out every ornament and twinkling light. The mansion was lavish, decorated to perfection, shimmering gold ribbons wound around the stair rails, a massive fir tree adorned with sparkling ornaments, and stockings hanging in a neat row above the fireplace. Yet, despite all this beauty, Michael felt a strange emptiness gnawing at him. The holidays had always been a time of joy, but this year, something was different. He had the wealth, the comforts, and the security most people only dream of, but as he watched the busy streets below, he wondered if there was more to life than luxury. Perhaps it was his late wife's absence this Christmas, or maybe it was just the tug of his conscience, but he felt a need to be out in the real world, even if just for a moment. "I'm going to take a quick walk outside, Jake," he said. His son looked up with curiosity and a hint of concern. "Don't wander off," Michael warned, grabbing his coat and stepping into the cold night. The city streets were alive with the holiday spirit. Children on the sidewalks giggled as they pulled their parents along to see the decorations, while street performers played cheerful music that echoed off the brick buildings. Michael wrapped his scarf tighter around his neck, breathing in the crisp air, and allowed himself to enjoy the simple charm of the city he usually only glimpsed from his office windows. As he walked past a row of upscale shops and cozy cafes, he noticed a figure crouched near a dimly lit alley. At first, he thought it might be a stray animal, but as he got closer, he realized it was a woman, hunched over a trash bin, shivering violently. Her clothes were torn and tattered, barely providing protection against the biting cold. Her hair was matted, and her hands were red and raw from the icy wind. Michael's heart tightened. He had seen homeless people before, of course, but he had never encountered anyone like her up close. Something about her struck him, not pity, but recognition of a human being in desperate need. "Excuse me," he called softly, keeping his voice calm. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman froze. Her eyes, wide and cautious, darted toward him. For a moment, she didn't speak, as if unsure whether this stranger was a threat or a savior. The corners of her mouth trembled, and her lips quivered as she whispered, I just need a warm meal. That's all." Michael felt an unexpected pang of empathy. He had so much in his life: money, a beautiful home, a loving son, but he realized that none of it mattered if he ignored someone who needed help. He knelt down slightly to meet her gaze. "You don't have to be out here tonight," he said gently. "Come with me. Let's get you somewhere warm." She hesitated. Years on the streets had taught her that offers of help often came with conditions or false promises. She had learned to trust no one. Yet, something in Michael's tone, the warmth in his eyes, reassured her. Slowly, cautiously, she nodded. My name is Sarah," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the sounds of the city. "I'm Michael," he replied. "Come on, Sarah. Let's get you out of the cold." Michael guided her carefully to his car, a sleek black SUV that gleamed under the streetlights. He draped a thick woolen blanket around her shoulders as she climbed in. Her hands were ice cold, and Michael held them briefly, allowing the warmth of his palms to seep through. As they drove through the city, Sarah's story began to unfold. She had once had a stable life, a job she loved, and a small apartment of her own. But a sudden layoff, coupled with a series of personal tragedies, had left her homeless and struggling to survive. She spoke quietly, almost as if afraid that speaking too loudly would shatter the fragile sense of security she had clung to in the past few months. Michael listened intently, nodding and offering words of comfort. He felt a mix of sadness and admiration. Sadness for the harsh reality she had faced, and admiration for the courage she displayed simply by surviving another day on the streets. By the time they reached his mansion, Sarah's eyes were wide with disbelief. She had never imagined stepping inside a home so grand, so warm, so full of life. The scent of pine, freshly baked cookies, and a crackling fireplace greeted her. Jake, oblivious to the social barriers that separated them, ran forward with a beaming smile, offering her a small plush reindeer. "Hi. You can stay for Christmas." Jake said, his innocence cutting through the tension. Sarah's eyes welled up with tears. She tried to speak, but no words came out at first. Michael led her to a comfortable chair by the fire, offering her a hot cup of cocoa. As she sipped the warm drink, her hands finally began to thaw, and her eyes softened. For the first time in months, Sarah felt safe. For the first time in what felt like forever, she felt seen, not as a homeless woman, but as a human being worthy of kindness, respect, and love. Michael watched her quietly, a profound sense of fulfillment washing over him. He had set out for a simple walk, seeking the spirit of Christmas in the city streets, but he had found something far more meaningful. He had found the chance to make a real difference, to change someone's life with a single act of compassion, and as the snow continued to fall gently outside, casting a soft glow across the streets, Michael knew that this Christmas Eve was unlike any other. Something extraordinary was about to begin, something that would forever change the lives of everyone in that mansion, and perhaps, even the life of a woman who had once believed hope was a luxury she could no longer afford. Sarah sat by the fireplace, still wrapped in the warm blanket Michael had offered, staring at the Christmas tree with wide, tear-filled eyes. The flickering lights reflected off the ornaments, casting tiny rainbows across the room. For months, she had lived in darkness, cold nights, empty stomachs, and the constant fear of being invisible. Yet here she was, in a room she never imagined she would enter again, surrounded by warmth, light, and kindness. Michael poured himself a cup of cocoa and handed her another. "Drink this," he said gently. "It'll warm you up." Sarah nodded, her hands trembling as she took the mug. The steam curled around her face, bringing with it a scent of chocolate and cinnamon. She took a careful sip, savoring the warmth that spread through her chest, chasing away some of the chill she had carried for so long. Jake, oblivious to the complex emotions swirling around him, bounded over with a small box in his hands. "This is for you," he said, offering her the gift. It was a handmade ornament he had painted himself, a small, smiling reindeer with a glittery red nose. "You can hang it on the tree," he added proudly. Sarah's heart ached at the simple, innocent gesture. She had never known a child's kindness quite like this. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know what to say." Michael smiled softly, watching the exchange. "You don't need to say anything. Just be here with us tonight." As the evening wore on, the mansion filled with the quiet hum of life. Sarah shared bits of her story with Michael, explaining how she had lost her job, her apartment, and almost all hope. Her words were heavy, yet there was a strength behind them, a resilience that had kept her alive through the harshest of winters. Michael listened without judgment, offering comfort when words failed. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "sometimes life hits us with storms we never expect. But it doesn't mean the storm lasts forever. Tonight is proof that hope can come when you least expect it." Sarah blinked at him, swallowing back tears. She had almost forgotten what hope felt like. She had spent countless nights hiding in doorways, scavenging for scraps of food, and wondering if anyone would ever care enough to notice her. And now, here she was, sitting in a mansion, drinking cocoa, and being treated like a human being. Dinner was a quiet, warm affair. Michael had prepared a small feast, roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and freshly baked bread. Sarah hesitated at first, unsure if she had the right to eat so much, but Michael encouraged her with a gentle smile. "Enjoy it. You deserve this," he said. As she ate, Jake shared stories from school, his laughter filling the room and lightening the heaviness that had clung to Sarah all day. She couldn't remember the last time she had felt this safe, this cared for. She found herself smiling genuinely for the first time in months, the shadows of her past slowly receding in the glow of the fireplace. After dinner, Michael suggested they go outside for a short walk in the garden. The snow had stopped falling, leaving the world blanketed in pristine white. The garden lights glowed softly, reflecting off the snow, and for a moment, it felt like a scene from a holiday postcard. Jake ran ahead, making snow angels and laughing uncontrollably. Sarah followed, hesitant at first, but Michael took her hand. "Come on," he said, "let yourself feel this. You've been through so much, you deserve a moment like this." Sarah laughed, a pure, unburdened laugh that she hadn't heard from herself in years. She felt the cold air on her cheeks and the crunch of snow beneath her boots, and for the first time, she felt alive. She realized that this night wasn't just about shelter or warmth, it was about being seen, being cared for, and being reminded that life could still hold beauty even after unimaginable hardship. Back inside, Michael led Sarah to the living room, where the fireplace crackled, and Jake was already curled up on the rug with a book. "I know this is a lot to take in," Michael said quietly. "But I want you to know, you're welcome here, as long as you need." Sarah's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they were tears of relief and gratitude. I don't even know how to thank you," she whispered. "I've been invisible for so long, but tonight I feel like I belong somewhere." Michael shook his head gently. "You don't have to thank me. Kindness isn't about repayment. It's about seeing someone in need and choosing to help. Tonight, you've reminded me that the smallest acts can make the biggest difference." Jake snuggled up next to Sarah, offering his favorite blanket. "You can sleep here tonight," he said softly. "It's Christmas, everyone should have a warm bed." Sarah's heart overflowed. For the first time in months, she felt the warmth of family, the joy of human connection, and the simple happiness of being safe. She realized that life could be cruel and unpredictable, but it could also be filled with unexpected miracles like Michael and Jake, like a simple act of kindness on a snowy Christmas Eve. As she drifted off to sleep that night, wrapped in the blanket and comforted by the gentle sounds of the mansion, Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite deep within her. She had survived so much, and now, she understood that survival wasn't just about enduring hardships, it was about being open to the kindness of others, about believing that life could still bring joy and love. Michael watched her sleep for a moment, feeling a sense of fulfillment that money could never buy. He knew that this Christmas Eve had changed not only Sarah's life but his own. It had reminded him that true wealth wasn't measured in dollars or possessions, it was measured in the moments we give to others, in the love we share, and in the hope we inspire. And so, on that magical Christmas Eve, a millionaire, his young son, and a woman who had almost given up found something priceless: connection, compassion, and a reminder that sometimes, the greatest gifts are the ones that come straight from the heart. That night, as the snow continued to blanket the city in silence, 3 lives were forever changed by an act of kindness, proving that even in the darkest moments, light can shine, and miracles can happen when you least expect them.